Hi, Dorthe.
Hi, Iben. I guess that I should introduce you for Flick and Harleen.
Yes.
And I guess that we have thought that the video today would be with all the others, but because of the time, there's only us left.
Just the
Just
two
us.
of us.
Yeah. So we have to do something really fast, making reflections on reflections over our meeting today, and especially over the response from Flick and Harleen.
Mm.
And I have responded to both of them because I had to make sure that some of the appointments and the structure for the day were very clear for Harleen and Flick. So something is clear now, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe,
Mm.
yeah. But I'm a little curious what you have thought
Yeah.
reading the response,
Yeah.
because you weren't with us
Today, no.
at the first recording.
No. At first, I think I would make a response to what you just said, that we have to make some reflections fast. And for me, I have to perhaps be fast in saying out loud the reflections, but I have actually done some reflection or had some a lot of thoughts about what I've read that Harleen gave back as a response, and then the other day we got something back from Flick.
Mm.
So I think those two responses has been working in my brain and in my system since we got them.
Mm.
So yeah, we don't have as much time today, but I'm not in a hurry with the reflections because they have been there.
No, and I feel a lot of stress saying out loud that we have a short time giving our reflections, because I would like to be very humble and very very humble to give something back,
Yeah.
because all the words and the thoughts that Harleen and Flick have done, using time to rethink about invite and
yeah.
giving us response. I guess that we need to do something in reverse, respecting their work.
Yeah.
So it has been a work inside me too, in my mind, all the time. Yeah. But are there some things especially you think about the words?
Well, now we are talking about all the words, but I think I would like to start with actually giving some thoughts back on the way I sensed the feeling, the way that the written words came into my system, because what has followed me since I read both of them is like happiness, I guess, a humbleness, but a big happiness about the 2 days coming, and that all the thoughts that we have shared, all my thoughts about invite and who is inviting, and can I be invited, can I invite myself, and all them thoughts. They have so many thoughts of that. So I was just like, feeling happy and wanted to hear more, learn more, explore more. And I thought that they had been like part of the conversation when we started talking about invite at the first place, because it was like just spot on. So this is my some like first respond. A joyful, happy feeling. I don't know the right word because I'm not happy like that. But delighted and calm.
Yeah.
It feels just right that they would like to be invited to our 2 days, and that we made up this invitation for them for those 2 days. It's like it all fits.
I guess that what I'm filled with and thinking about from the response from both Flick and Harleen is how Flick is responding to the video from us, and the response to Harleen, and all these questions, trying to fit in some way. I guess I come to my mind when I'm reading what Flick is wondering about, and it has been very helpful for me because I guess that a lot of things have been sort of not clear to me, that it wasn't clear for our guests. And that is very helpful, I guess, being hosts these days, that something is clarified, that we have to be more transparent to make the settings. And when Flick is talking about being new in this setting, I guess that was something that Bodil, before she went further on for her day today, she said to us that for 2 years ago she was new in this context, and how it was to be new for her, and that she felt very welcome, but on the other hand, that she could see that a lot of the participants knew each other. But she felt like being part of a big organism in some way, very, very fast. So, or very quickly. But I guess we have to talk more about that, and while I'm sitting here talking with you about it, I guess that it could be a sort of introduction for the days, pronouncing and thinking out loud, you and I, about the word invite. Also thinking out loud how to invite newcomers and how to invite the oldies in some way.
No, yeah, but when you are talking, Dorthe, I'm thinking about the word tradition, because we are part of framing 2 days into a known tradition for someone, for somebody. And I think that's my thought about it, that some of the people who's been there from the beginning of the open dialogue, welcoming open dialogue into Denmark, they've been part of these annual open dialogue meetings in Denmark. So there are some like strong opinions and feelings about this tradition, and on the side of that, it's like open dialogue is like growing. So therefore, we are welcoming guests from Norway. We are welcoming people who is not fixed in working with mental illness, but perhaps want to work with family care, or so there's something very traditional people gathering who know each other very well. There will be lots of smiling and hugging and long time no see.
Mm.
But there will also be new people with a new context who maybe not know that much about the open dialogue tradition.
Mm.
So when Flick wrote that, her thoughts about being welcomed into this as a new person from far, far away, I thought, well, there will be a lot of persons there who will be there for the first time.
Mm. But pointing out that I guess is helpful for those who is newcomers in this
definitely
on those seats, I guess, for these days.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And then I guess Flick is asking about families or peers,
community,
and on that one I could respond that we haven't we could have sent this invitation to everyone in Denmark, but we didn't do that. We invited, and that's sort of tradition too. We have invited all those who were participants at the annual meeting last year and asked them to invite into their networks. So it's sort of invitation, which is just, I don't know how to say it, but and then it's up to those who invites to this meeting also to think families, users into some context, to give them a seat there. And from my workplace there will be two which is working at my place as peers, and they have, I should say, sort of big voices in my workplace, trying to tell about their stories. And I know from here where we are right now, your workplace, Yvonne is one of the voices. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if there are any other workplaces in Denmark which have invited their colleagues with a background and a story who could have that voice into the meeting.
I don't know.
But we have to see.
Yeah. I think that it's not a closed invitation. So if someone had called us or heard about it and said, hey, I'm interested, could I have an invitation as well? We would say, yes, of course you can. Mm. But there is like this tradition that we invite the network of open dialogue folk that we know, and they invite their network. And every year it has expanded into other contexts, and now with people coming with a peer background, and which it's very nice, I guess.
Back in 2009, when I was in a planning group, then also we. I guess that the network or the days then were that our limit was 100 participants, and I guess we were about 80 participants at that time. Yeah. And now we're counting 222 participants at this meeting this year. So it has
grown
very much.
Yeah. Could I say something else about because Flick she writes something about that could be inviting me, but also inviting some of my voices or some of my perspectives. And she's thinking about what kind of invitation that she got, because we did not invite her as a peer, we did not invite her as an Australian, we did not invite her like we have not invited in a specific context. And I think that gave me some thoughts about that we like invite Flick and we invite Harleen into reflecting on invite. And
yeah, and my thoughts about why Harleen and why Flick is because I see them as big voices in this open dialogue area. I know that Harleen is working with collaborative practice or collaborative dialogues, but Harleen has a long story with all those practitioners which have worked and developed open dialogue for years and years, and I guess that Flick is more like you and I, beginning to see into this work and this development, and I guess that she is a strong voice into that. I felt that when I met her in the summer 2016, and I guess that the dialogues from then have been growing inside me, and when we talked in the planning team, who should we invite? Flick was one of the persons I would very much like to share in Denmark, because the perspectives and the way I heard Flick folding words out and looking into the words, and how our dialogue then developed was very nice being a part of.
Yeah.
And in my mind it was therefore I pointed out that we need to have Flick here.
So I'm just thinking that when you say that Flick is for me an unknown voice, I'm looking forward to that, and Harleen is the more known voice. We read her books, we discussed the books, and a lot of people who will join the days have joined other days in Denmark where Harleen had been telling about her practice. So in that way there's something that we know which will be completely different because things are, and something more unknown, which is very nice. It's just...
Yeah, and I guess also that that's a way of looking at it, and I guess that's where a lot of our colleagues in this team is having, or they are having earlier experiences with Harleen. But I guess you and I are sharing another experience with Harleen.
Yeah.
From Norway,
exactly.
From the ECCP network.
Yeah.
And that's the primary thing for me, that inviting Harleen here comes from that meeting.
Yeah.
Because it was another setting and another room, trying to being in a process in some way, and finding out what collaboration is from inside, more than something you are talking about from outside. And yeah, I guess it was that experience that did the thing for me when we were talking about Harleen and inviting Harleen to Denmark.
Yeah.
I don't know if you think another thing about it?
No, because I've met Harleen in Norway, and I've not met Harleen before. I was very pleased about the meeting in Norway, and learned so much, and I haven't finished like processing all the thoughts and things that we were sharing there. So I'm just looking forward for a new movement in that meeting.
Mm.
And then I'm thinking that you're here with us on the camera, but you're not here in like here. But no, but this thing about what would I like to say to two guests who has a long travel in ahead of them.
Mm.
I think I would like to say something like, I have this feeling that the days will be great. I have thoughts about that we will keep asking you, and if things are okay, we will be there, and we will be as helpful as possible. I think I will be how is
Available.
Yeah, available for talks, reflections, rescheduling the program if something is too clear, too unclear. I want it to be a safe frame.
Yeah.
Like.
And free in some way, in making changes, and try to what is it? It's called. It's the same word in Danish.
Okay.
When you are rescheduling. Musicians use that word when they are trying to find each other.
Yeah.
Well, I can say something else, and then I will try to find the word meanwhile. I think it's very, very important that we just for a moment talk about the invitation cards.
Oh.
Just for a moment, because I have tried to explain it in writing, but if we are using just a few reflections about the inviting cards, because it will be an ongoing invitation to make reflections over the days.
Mm.
And I guess that both Harleen and Flick, you have the opportunity to use that as a sort of invitation to reflections to the participants.
we made the invitation cards, and on the front side there's a beautiful picture of some flowers in nice colors, and it says annual year meeting 2018 and invite. And on the back side of that invitation card, we have written, I would like to invite ... to reflect on ... And my thoughts about it is that while hearing Harleen and Flick, the two of you, talking and reflect about invite or what comes up, I can, from my seat where I sit, listens, I can make a card, for example, for myself, or something can come into my mind and I can think, when you say that, one of the people I support or work with comes into my mind, and here is something that I would really like to share with that person. So I can write down, I would like to invite Dorthe to reflect on the word one of you just used because I'm thinking blah blah blah. Mm. And I can take my card in the next break or reflection pause, and I can go and say to Dorthe, well, you came into my mind, I would like to hand that to you. Mm. Or I could also make a reflection card for myself, that this is something that really makes sense for me sitting here right now. I want to write a card for myself, sharing this reflection with me, and I can take up the card in a different context and invite different perspective in me to be in dialogue with this reflection that I made on those 2 days.
Mm.
And we also agreed, and this is like something we can unagree, but we agreed that we would take some of the cards into the big reflection groups, and in the groups we could maybe come up with 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 10 reflections that we would like to share on the first day when we come back. So we are thinking that the invite cards can be used in those ways that make sense in the process.
Yeah, and we will, when you are telling about it, big groups working on the afternoon on Thursday, we have made this arrangement that you are following Harleen around and I am following Flick around,
Yeah,
translating what is happening in the groups.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
or translating their reflections while hearing what's processing in the groups into Danish for them in the groups that could perhaps have a bit difficulty about the language situation.
Yeah. And that leads me to another thing, and that's how to give time for people to think, because I guess like me, it's like thinking in Danish and then translating into English instead of thinking in English and then it just have to come out. But people need time to think what they're going to say, and a lot of people is very scared, I guess, and awkward about trying to reflect in English. But I guess we all have to help each other here. Yeah. And the word haven't come to mind. Mind
that
yet.
word about how to reschedule in the process, like, okay, maybe it comes up and we will know.
Yeah,
when we
I
see
can tell
next
you
week.
on Wednesday when we are sitting, dining together at the Hotel Plaza.
Yeah. We'll both be there. Yeah.
But are we going to say
Goodbye for now.
bye for now?
Yeah. Or see you, like in Denmark, you would not say goodbye, you would see another word for see you soon, it's like, it's meant with love, like looking forward, seeing you soon. We have a word that means that, på gensyn, actually, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm looking very much forward for the 2 days, and
it will be so nice. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Bye.